turned red. Got it. Okay. We're going to call general government meeting to order at 9:33. Roll call, please.
Fleming. Gershenson. Here. Hoffman. Kowal. Here. Kokendorfer.
Here.
Quarles is absent with notice. Long.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Let's stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we need a motion to approve the previous minutes from June 4th and June 13th. Moved by Commissioner Kowal, supported by Commissioner Gershenson. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. I think you were the only one that said aye, Commissioner Kowal.
I did.
So, oh, you did? Okay.
I did, quietly.
We're such small committee right now. And we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Commissioner Gershenson, supported by Commissioner Kowal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Public comment. There's a lot of people. Chris Ward has a public comment.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. I wanted to introduce our new intern, Angelina Torres.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome.
At American University, correct?
Yep.
Here for the summer with us.
Good. Well, welcome.
Welcome to the team.
Are you interested in politics?
Yes, I am.
Well, it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Welcome. All right. Then any other public comment? Well, seeing none, we'll close public comment and move right on to the agenda, the Bicentennial Study Group report. It's for information. Judge Michael Warren's here. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. I am Judge Michael Warren. I'm the chairman of the task force that was put together at the request of the County Commission to review the bicentennial and to address, to make recommendations. I don't know how I got yanked into this, nor did I know why I'm chair, but here I am. So I'm really pleased that I was yanked into it, and it was my pleasure to chair the committee. We have several members from the committee here. I would like them to introduce themselves. I don't know if it'd be okay for them to come to the table.
Yes,
Sure.
okay. Certainly.
Come on up, and let's put you at the table and introduce yourselves. Chris, you should come up.
Then we'll know who's doing all
He
this.
was my co-chair.
Then we'll know who's doing all this hard work. We'll be able to
Right.
put faces
Right,
behind it,
exactly.
behind the names.
Hi, I'm Bill Bullard, and I'm proud to have served under the leadership of Judge Warren on this commission.
You know me.
Yes.
I'm Judy David, City of Royal Oak Community Engagement. Carol Schweiner, City of Royal Oak, Office of the Mayor. Caitlin here, Oakland County Digital Editorial Manager, I work out of IT.
Good. Well, thank you.
This is only a small part of the team. We had a number of very active members. I like to put it this way: all the good things came from the members, all the bad things are my fault. So I want to thank them for all their very hard work. As you know, Oakland County has had a long, proud tradition. Hey.
Hello, Your Honor.
How are you, Commissioner? Good to see you. Long, proud tradition. We were started before the state of Michigan was created by Governor Cass. We were established as a small little itty-bitty rural county and have really transformed tremendously over the course of our history. In 2020, we will have our bicentennial. We do have, all counties have had their challenges over the years, but I wanted to quote a few things from the Northwest Ordinance to talk about how we were really established. And part of it says that the purpose of establishing the new states, which Michigan was obviously one of them, was for extending the fundamental principles of civil and religious liberty, which form the basis whereon these republics, their laws and constitutions are erected. To fix and establish those principles is the basis of all laws, constitutions, and governments, which forever hereafter shall be formed in said territory. As you probably remember from your history and civics text, Northwest Ordinance established the territory as a free, no slaves. Obviously, Michigan was very, very vital in the course of the fight for emancipation and the Civil War. And we've also been very important in connection with religious liberty. For example, the Northwest Ordinance continues No person demeaning himself in a peaceable and orderly manner shall ever be molested on account of his mode of worship or religious sentiments in said territory. Continues, the inhabitants of said territory shall always be entitled to the benefits of the writ of habeas corpus and of the trial by jury, which I really like. A proportionate representative of the people of the legislature, of judicial proceedings according to the course of the common law. Religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind. Schools and the mean of education shall be forever encouraged. So we started with a fantastic foundation. Again, not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we've worked very hard over the course of the last 198 years, going on 200. I'm looking at the room, and I think some of you are too young to remember this, and some of you probably remember this. In 1976 was the bicentennial of America, and that was a time of great celebration and reflection and commemoration, thinking about the course of our history. And there were mugs, there were dishes, there were souvenir cups. Everything was 1776 bicentennial. And of course that was countrywide, nationwide. But I certainly think that provides the energy that we want to have, the vigor, the creativity, the innovation, the outreach. We want to do that for Oakland County. It's a great teachable moment. Where we've been, flaws and all, and where we want to be, where we're going. So we developed, after several meetings of really good, hardworking people, very deep thinkers, comprehensive, thorough understanding of history and what it takes to reach out, we came up with a report which you should have. I'll just give the highlights. First thing, we know that we can't do this alone. So our recommendation, of course, these are only recommendations to the board. We certainly want the board to adopt them, but that we have partnerships and with various organizations that this is what they do. There's folks from the Royal Oak, folks from the Troy Historical Society, and many other historical societies that this is what they do for a living, and so we want to partner with them. We think that we need to do some research. This binder has just a little snippet of some of the research that we've done. There's a lot more about our history, and I think starting the way that we did and where we've ended up is a fascinating story about Oakland County, but also America. So we want to create a database which include maps, census records, and histories. We'd like to create a brochure that could be distributed widely, write some articles, sponsor workshops with museums and historical societies. I used to be a former member of the State Board of Education. I'm still very involved with education. So and we had educators, so we wanted to have lesson plans for Oakland County schools for various grades, elementary, middle, and high school. And we have the capacity to do that. And a lecture series where people would come out and learn more about us. Now we also would like to do some marketing, kind of going back to that 1976 idea. So we've got our brander over here. I'm going to ask her. She didn't know I was going to do this. Tell us a little bit about the marketing ideas that you've come up with.
So we had a lot.
Oh, you make sure you put the microphone. Thank you.
Turn it off.
Okay, perfect.
So we had a lot of ideas for marketing. Everything from, like the brochure the judge mentioned, to throwing a couple day festival kind of in light of Arts, Beats, and Eats, or scaling it down so we have a marketing branding presence at every festival that happens in every community in Oakland County. So leveraging what is already existing and partnering with them. So the branding would be Oakland 200. We use hashtag Oakland 200 for everyone to participate and say their story and join that conversation. We already have the URL, oakland200.com ready. So we can create a website around that. So it would be website, marketing, social media, blog, content, and then traditional marketing as well. But because there's so many ideas, I believe the recommendation was to do a marketing plan. Actually decide what our goals are, which tactics we want to do, and then create that actionable implementation plan of how we're going to achieve those goals and do those tactics.
And yes, so logo, branding, content, event banners, World Wide Web, social media, event management, all those kinds of things that you would hope to see. And then Bill and I co-chaired the Legacy Committee, subcommittee. And the Legacy Committee, we're bold and audacious. Oh, here's another committee member. Come on,
Oh,
take a seat.
You can introduce yourself, yes.
Gail Simpson, Southfield, South Oakland County.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So, being bold and audacious thinkers, Bill and I decided that one thing that might work is a monument. You know, we, across the country and even in Michigan, there are these iconic monuments that you see that and you go, oh, that's St. Louis. Oh, that's Seattle. That's New York. Oakland County, we have some great things. I mean, Cranbrook, I mean, we've got lots of really cool places, but I don't think it has that signature pull. So we did some research, and we figured out you can go as little as $5,000 to something like $200 million, right? So maybe somewhere in
The arc.
Bill, do you want to reflect on that just a little bit before I?
Yeah, and we thought,
That's cool,
in the
I like that.
monument, we should recognize the general government.
Maybe you ought to do finance committee, recommends the finance.
Right.
I think our recommendations in general are
Money
to
getting-
give you a framework as county commissioners. And there's a lot of blanks you can fill in, and the exact, you know, language of the monument and so forth, that can be up to you, so. Judge Warren?
One of the things that we thought about for the monument
Up and
was,
down, yeah.
some monuments are static, right? It's usually a piece of stone or concrete or whatever it is. And then others are living, where there's a museum or at least some kind of interaction that you can really learn from. So that's going to be up to you, obviously, but if it's something that can live and breathe, there's a lot of support around the committee for that kind of.
Got a couple of questions, I think, if we could, Commissioner Kowal, and then Ed Commissioner. Two different question?
I just didn't want to
Okay.
interrupt if you had more to talk about.
Nope, that's kind of the high overview, so we're.
I just wanted to say this is a great opportunity as well, because people are generally very much aware of federal and state government and then their local government. And county government is that kind of government in between that people really don't, consider that much. And yet we have a very, very important function. So this is another way actually to promote county government just in general. And I just
county.
appreciate all your efforts, what you've done and what you will be doing and going forward, and I look forward to 2020.
Thank you. I should say, our charge has ended with today's presentation. So
Yes.
I know that there's a resolution that maybe is in the works to create.
And then circulated to you by email.
Right. So thank you. We love doing what we did.
Come
on.
I think everybody's still interested. This particular task force is, but I think I can speak on behalf of the individuals of the task force that we're committed to this project for the long term. If you want us to be.
Can't we tell you?
You all set, Commissioner Kowal? Okay, Commissioner Gershenson, then Commissioner Fleming.
Well, amazing job, 170 pages of the report, it's pretty impressive. What's the budget for this?
Well, that will be up to you.
Yeah,
And,
this is just what we did. for
Judge
this
Warren
part, right?
mentioned the study group that was formed by the board, formed in July, I believe. And
Was it after the historical committee's presentation?
No, you
No.
formed this back in July,
Yeah.
and the study
Last
group
year.
met many times and focused on these various different
Yes.
aspects of
Yeah.
this, and presented this report back in February, I believe. And so we've kind of been anxiously awaiting the next steps to be taken, and so
Like 2
as
years.
it-
Not even.
as was mentioned, there's something that's been sent to you by email. We're kind of trying to work with the administration to figure out how to go about forming a commission of some sort and funding, whether that comes from the board or the administration or both. So I guess that's where we're at right now, is trying
Got
to
it.
figure that out between the two of us, between the administration and the commission, and where that comes from.
Okay, thank you.
I think a good thing just to mention to the side, Commissioner Fleming is the one who pointed it out to me, is Macomb County is going through their bicentennial year this year, actually.
Oh.
I
Yes.
encourage you to take a look at their website. Got a lot of exciting things going on there. It's a good model in terms of including the public participation and the public from all different aspects of Macomb County, diverse population, all kinds of talented folks, different professional backgrounds.
Thank you.
I
Okay.
think they're using a lot of private funding too, which Commissioner Fleming mentioned. From his perspective, it was a
Yeah,
good
we do.
model as well, public
Right.
and private funding.
Okay, and then, are you
Did
all
I steal
set,
your thunder
Commissioner?
there, Commissioner Fleming?
Yes, he's up next. Go ahead, Commissioner
Yeah,
Fleming.
yeah,
You
it's
stole
not-
your thunder.
Chris said what I was going to say, pretty
Sorry
much.
about
But
that.
no, thank you. But thank you for the committee. You've done an excellent job, Judge Ward. Thank you for your leadership here and your whole committee. But I would encourage us, I think the next step is probably getting the resolution, working with the administration, determining how we want to pursue this. But I think it's a great opportunity to really, showcase Oakland County and our history. But I think we can learn, as Chris has said, and we talked about before, and there's a memo out on this, about what our neighbors have done in Macomb County. We certainly don't want to be shown up by Macomb County. And they're doing an excellent job, I'll tell you. I talked to one of their commissioners, and he shared with me that they've used a lot of private funding, and they got tremendous interest from corporations and so forth. I would encourage us to do the same thing as our next step. And I think it would probably be pretty easy to get people on board with this, and some deep pockets, because there's only so much we can do as a county, to stretch our budget and so forth. It may not be the best use of our dollars, but I think if we've got some corporate citizens in the community, and I'm sure that we do, we can do a really first-class job. And I hope this committee stays together. I hope your work's not done, Judge. I hope it's a great first step, and you guys have done an excellent job. I think it's a great first step, I'll say. And I think I'm so excited about how this is going to work out, and look forward to the resolution and how we proceed. But I think getting private funding and partnerships is going to be an avenue we should explore, along with what Macomb County's done and others across the country.
If I could say off of that, I think we appreciate your support as the committee and commissioners, because there was a lot of enthusiasm and momentum coming out of what we were doing. We had a function as a partnership committee with historical societies and local libraries back, I think in February. Irene Spanos put it together, and there was just a lot of energy in that room. And we were kind of hoping to build off of that. So we want to capture that and get it back together again. So if we could keep this moving along with your support,
Yeah.
that would be
Got it.
Stop too long. Commissioner, are you all set, Commissioner Fleming?
Yes.
All set? Okay, Commissioner Kokendorfer.
Chris, you were just stealing everybody's thunder. I was going to talk about our associations and organizations. And man, I tell you, it's
all right.
He's chatting today.
all kind of superfluous here.
To demerit.
No,
coffee this morning.
It's a great point. There are so many resources in Oakland County. I mean, particularly in Rochester, we have several historical groups. And one of the things we really want to do that you already know, we really want to leverage all those great resources and all those individuals who already know so much or are so enthusiastic about it. So again, thank you very much for all of your work. Judge Warren, despite what you said, you're the perfect guy to lead these efforts. So thank you very much for everything you did.
Okay, any other questions? So we need probably a motion to receive and file the report too. Moved by Commissioner Hoffman, supported by Commissioner Fleming. Just all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, thank you again.
Thank you
I'm
so
sure we'll
much.
see you again, and I think we should keep the momentum going.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Great job.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I think sometimes when there's a gap, it's hard.
It's a great job, great report.
All right, so we'll get on to item number 2. Health and Human Services Homeland Security Division has hazard mitigation plan adoption. We need a motion for that. Moved by Commissioner Fleming, supported by, I'm going to assume, Commissioner Kokendorfer, even though I think it just was.
Sure.
Once you put your hand up, it's like an auction.
I'd be
You
happy
supported.
to.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Hardesty on behalf of Homeland Security. Every 5 years, the county is required to update our hazard mitigation plan. The goal of hazard mitigation is to eliminate or reduce the loss of life and property. So with the aid of a grant, we contracted with Integrated Solutions, a company that specializes in this, and worked really through all of 2017 on updating our plan. We did this in conjunction with the LEPC committee, which the Board of Commissioners previously by resolution, had designated as a coordinating committee for hazard mitigation. So during the course of last year, we had 4 meetings with the LEPC committee. We held 4 different workshops around the county for different communities where they would bring in representatives from police, fire, DPW, whatever ones they felt appropriate for looking at this. We also had 3 meetings that were open to the public. We did a survey where we got almost 1,000 responses from it. So over the course of this, we looked at over 50 hazards. You got an email with the link to what we would call the public version. It's 100 and some pages. I have here with me the full version, which is over 800 pages, if anyone wants to look at it.
Thanks for the summary of 100.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, within here are there's specific hazard mitigation recommendations for every community in the county, as well as every school district in the county.
Oh, good.
And this is important for 2 reasons. One, we want to identify what problems might be and try to mitigate them. It's also important for funding reasons. One, on occasion, the federal government releases money for what they call pre-disaster mitigation. You have to have this plan, and an example might be a house that has flooded numerous times and keeps getting damaged. So the federal government then might, with pre-mitigation dollars, pay to have that house moved or pay to move the family. It's really important, though, for post-disaster. If we were to have a disaster here and you don't have a hazard mitigation plan that's been adopted, the federal government, FEMA, could say we're not going to give you any money because you didn't have a plan in place. You didn't have, and then this helps, so there is a disaster. These are things that it's much easier to get funding to say, look, we knew this was a problem. We didn't have the funds for it to fix it all, but we'd identified it. So now that we've had a disaster, we'd like to take care of this problem so we can mitigate that again in the future. So in all, like I said, there is actually over 800 pages here, wide-ranging participation from all across the county. So we are looking to get adoption first by the Board of Commissioners, and then we look to get all 62 communities in the county to adopt it individually as well.
Okay. Okay, I had Commissioner Fleming has a question.
Well, thank you very much. This is on a lot of people's mind. I was at a League of Women Voters event just a week or so ago, and they were talking to all the candidates, and this was one of the questions: are we prepared? Are we prepared? And I was happy to be able to report, yes, I think we're working with FEMA. We will be prepared. We're always preparing. We're never finished. This is a job that's never done, Tom. And so I was pleased to report we're in good shape, but continuing to improve and work, you know, so that it's not if, it's when a disaster hits, that we will be prepared. And I was able to talk about the collaborative efforts we have with all the communities, you know, with our law enforcement and so forth, and how we have these emergency response teams. So thank you so much. This is on a lot of people's mind when things are going on around the country. Are we prepared to respond? And my answer was, we're continuously preparing and continuously improving. So thank you for this.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it. It used to be we had to worry about natural hazards. Unfortunately,
yes,
now we
more.
have to worry about more man-made and political ones.
Absolutely.
So we'll continue to work on those.
Thank
as
you.
well.
Good. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll do roll call on the resolution as presented.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Long.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 3, Department of Health and Human Services Children's Village Division, interlocal agreement with Oakland Schools for the provision of educational planning services. We need a motion for that. Moved by Commissioner Fleming, supported by Commissioner Hoffman. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Jody Overall, manager for Children's Village. This first agreement is for educational services that would be provided by Oakland Schools for the time period of July 1st this year through June 30th of 2019. The amount is not to exceed $87,332. They would provide a full-time and a part-time staff person to work with Children's Village. It's really an expansion of our reentry process. So kids who are placed in residential treatment programs, when it starts becoming time for them to transition home, these are people that would work with them to help with the transition back into their community-based school. So specifically kids who had a lot of difficulties with their peer group or academics or authority would have this additional assistance in getting back into their school district when they leave Children's Village.
Good. Commissioner Gershenson.
Is this a new program?
This is a new service that we're contracting with Oakland Schools for. They will be a new resource in our existing reentry process.
So before this, the kids didn't have any additional help?
No, we provide that at Children's Village. We work with them to go back home. We run into significant obstacles sometimes with kids who presented significant behavioral problems in the school. Some of the schools don't want them back. Their theory is that they have to protect the other kids in the school. Our theory is that's true with some kids, but with other kids who have made significant changes in their behavior, they've earned that right. They've earned that privilege to go back into their regular school. So we just wanted to bring on some extra help to assist even after they're released, up to 3 months from the time period they leave Children's Village.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah. All set, Commissioner Hoffman?
How successful is this re-entry program? I know this is a new service you're offering, but in the past, how many of these kids do you see again? Or are we pretty successful in?
Our reentry process is very successful, especially when you consider what our alternatives were prior to implementing the reentry process. It used to be standard probation, which is still intact. The court stays very much involved to keep their attention. And then we had a Children's Village aftercare program where we just kind of checked in with them after they left. This reentry process starts before they go home with working on the family members, issues that are in the home independent of what the kids are working on. So it is very successful. But you have to keep in mind also that by the time we receive many of our kids at Children's Village, a lot of other initiatives have tried and failed. They're kind of at the end of the road. So we work hard not just with the kids but with the families, and we do see good success. Sometimes we do see kids repeat and come back through again. That's one of the advantages of having so many different programs at Children's Village. They don't have to start over again someplace else. They can resume within Children's Village where they know us and we know them, and we kind of pick up where we left off if they do end up reoffending and returning to Children's Village.
Mm-hmm.
What are,
Go ahead, yeah.
What are some of the issues with these kids? Is it drugs? Is it discipline in the school? I mean, or it's the whole gamut of everything?
Anything.
Truancy.
Pardon?
Truancy.
From status offenses all the way to some pretty serious crimes, some repeat criminal behavior. We have a locked boys treatment program that's longer term than the rest, and that's where our more serious male offenders go. But it runs the gamut.
Mm-hmm. What a shame.
Yeah.
But this reentry program just keeps getting better and better as we add more and more resources to it. Really wrapping services around the family to build healthy families, and eventually we will do what we can to provide resources in the community to build healthier neighborhoods too.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fleming?
Yeah, this is a great program. I believe anything we can do as a community to help kids is never, ever wasted. Because if we can't help these kids, they're just going to be a burden on society. I think as a government, we have things, in society, we have things upside down. We don't spend the money early on for early child intervention when children are having problems. So there's a vicious cycle they get into, and they go through, and you see it every day, Joe, you live it. And you go into Children's Village and so forth, and and you go into juvie, sometimes there's not a lot of rehabilitation, and it's just a cycle. And sometimes it's just a precursor to prison. So anything we can do to improve the help we give these kids and these families and get them back into the family environment, not institutionalized, but back in the family environment, is never ever wasted, because otherwise they become incarcerated. It's just a cycle, and we spend millions of dollars in prisons when we could have possibly got a child turned around much younger. But we don't spend the money early on. We wait until they get in trouble. That's the problem. We don't wait till they get in trouble to start spending the money. So anything we can do for early intervention, you've got my vote.
Thank you. I agree with you. Thank you for saying that.
Commissioner Cobal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. the early intervention thing got me thinking that, do you in any way, shape, or form work with youth assistants? My daughter's a 4th, 5th grade teacher in Waterford, and this year she had an unusual number of students that had serious issues. So, but obviously they weren't involved in any kind of juvie justice system yet. But I just wonder how you work with Waterford, or just the youth assistants, the county youth assistants.
So historically, youth assistance has always been the preventative end of the court, and they only worked with kids up until they were adjudicated and removed from home. This reentry that we have, we started in 2009. It was a federal grant. We got over $1 million, and youth assistance was right with us at the table from the very beginning, and that changed their whole framework of being prevention only, and now they work with us for our kids from Children's Village when they're starting to transition back home again. So now reentry is staying involved, or maybe even getting involved, to help kids and families with the resources they have in each school district to help kids return home successfully.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Good. All right. Yeah, very good. Roll call on the resolution.
Amazing.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. And the next item is Department of Health and Human Services, Children's Village Division, Waterford School District, interlocal agreement, July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2023. I need a motion for that. Moved by Commissioner Gershenson, supported by Commissioner Fleming. Okay.
This agreement will allow the Waterford School District to continue to provide educational services for all the youth who are residing at Children's Village. This is a 5-year agreement. The portion that Children's Village will be responsible for this first year is $244,470, and for the next school year it'll be $250,390. Both of those amounts are reimbursable at 50% from the state child care fund. Waterford School, because Children's Village falls within the Waterford School District, they are the ones that provide our education.
Is there anything added different in this contract compared to the other years?
There is not, just some adjustments to salaries and fringe benefits.
Okay. I didn't think I saw anything, but any questions? So it's similar to the last agreement.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any questions on it? All right, seeing none, we'll do roll call on the resolution.
Kowal?
Yes.
Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you,
you.
Jody. Good job.
One minute. Jody, are you going to be leaving or staying?
No, staying.
Okay, because I have a question on the communication.
Okay.
Okay, next item, Department of Health and Human Services, Health Division, adjustments to the Health Division fee schedule and position changes. We need a motion for that. Moved by Commissioner Fleming, supported by Commissioner Gershenson. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. So the proposal in front of you recommends a reorganization and some additional positions, as well as new fees and increase and changes to the existing fee schedule. These recommendations are coming to you after new demands due to emerging issues continue to almost overwhelm us at times due to some of the research that we have to do on some of these new emerging issues. And so what it did is we really wanted to take a comprehensive look across the health division to see where the most demand was and the needs that we had. So we looked across the agency, and really we focused on two main areas where we saw some significant need due to increased services, just to the demand services or everyday services that we do, like in environmental health, wells and septics. But we've seen an ongoing increase in those over the last few years. And these have created, heavy workload burdens on some of our staff and even administration, again, as we try to come up to speed on new emerging issues. And we want to make sure we continue to provide timely services to our clients. We don't want to have to wait weeks to get answers back to people because of the workload. So, hoping by adding these positions, we'll be able to keep those timely service delivery So again, as we looked across the board, we just saw that there were about 6 positions that we needed to increase our service delivery. That is 1 chief of environmental health, 2 sanitarians that are full-time, and 1 FTE or FTNE sanitarian, a health program coordinator that's going to help us with the ECHO program, which I know we've brought to you a couple times, and then 1 part-time, full-time, non-eligible. The fees that we have discussed or added or increased will cover all of those positions.
Okay, Commissioner Fleming.
Thank you, ma'am. This is sort of like a reorganization, adding staff and so forth. And we're going to talk about the fee schedule now as well, both of those?
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. One, as far as the reorganization, I understand you're really loaded. And is this the largest reorganization we've had in the last few years? Have we had anything this significant as far as adding staff?
No.
Okay. So,
Well, in 2008, we removed a lot of staff.
you removed the staff, okay. So this is adding back stuff, Kathy, that some we has this been submitted for the budget already as well? Is this in the budget request? Okay, that's it. And the fee schedule, when's the last time we raised fees? I think you need, I look at the way you've done the analysis, and you have looked at other counties and so forth, and I think we're in a sweet spot right there. That's good, and I think you need.
I mean, now we're supposed to get a letter.
10 years ago?
2008. Yes,
So it's due. Overdue, because I think we're lagging behind,
We
Kathy.
have come many times since 2008, but during the economic downturn,
Yes.
we made the decision to push that down the road
deficit.
as far as we possibly could, in order to assist the citizens of Oakland County as much as we could.
I think it's time.
Okay, I have Commissioner Hoffman, then Commissioner Kowal.
2 questions. One, are we back to the staffing level of 2008? We're still not? Okay, that might be good. You mentioned more demand with wells and septics. What's the issue there? Are we drilling more wells or building more septics?
Yeah, we're building more property,
Oh,
people are building more houses, it's increasing every year, and so that puts that demand on the well and septic staff. In addition, engineered systems,
Right.
that takes a significant amount of time out of the staff to review and, meet with the builders and the installers, so.
And the other, sorry, I'm losing my voice today, but the other thing I think that's important is, these aren't just numbers that are increasing in our usual, regular, and routine work after the economic downturn. We're seeing a steady increase over the past 3 years. It's just continuing to increase.
Okay.
So it's the burden from things like vapor intrusion and PFAS and HEPA and
Legionella.
Legionella. I mean, these are enormous, enormous problems that we are trying. Thank you. We're trying very hard.
It's on my hand still.
What a gentleman.
It's from the weather.
We're trying so hard to stay ahead of and have a well-trained staff so that we can assist the community. But that is so difficult to do and keep up the day-to-day work. This reorganization will allow us to have a very specialized team that will become very, very proficient in helping our community through some of these really tough issues.
One final question.
Keep going.
Are you having a hard time finding people to fill these positions?
No, actually, we get.
Okay, which is good.
Yeah, hundreds of resumes and people that submit for these jobs, especially in environmental health.
Because
environmental health
Oakland County
majors.
is recognized for a very stellar environmental health program.
Yeah, which is
We have a
good.
lot of students that line up every year that would like to be trained over the summer.
Okay.
for that reason.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just looking at the fee schedule, and it's just a question of curiosity. There's a lot of places where the other county, it's non-applicable, so I'm trying to figure out why they wouldn't have things like, food service manager certification program and things like that.
Some counties, keep in mind, Oakland County was one of the first counties to jump on board with food service manager certification. In fact, the state of Michigan copied our program because they really believed in what we were doing. Many counties don't see the benefit of having an in-house food service manager certification program
So they do
that
the
we
same?
do. But we feel it's very important to be available to train food service managers in our community because this is a great opportunity
These
for
are
our food
new, yeah.
establishments to have a dialogue with our sanitarians who teach the course. Because this is a really proactive way to make sure they understand what an inspection is all about and what they can benefit from inspections and things that they can do to be
A lot of other communities do
proactive.
use
We
the state,
find it so
other counties,
valuable to have our own
because the food
course
have to be
here.
inspected.
And I know our
Do they use
restaurants
the state?
appreciate that.
Are you outside?
Yep, there's just a lot of,
So that's
a lot of
one
other situations too. I'm not
example.
gonna ask you to go through
No, but
every
that's
one of
one
them, but yeah.
example.
What do they
For
use?
instance, Wayne County
Yeah.
doesn't have a
Oh, here.
well and septic program at all. They don't
Oh.
have well and septics.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that they, a lot of NAs
Well,
there.
Livingston obviously would.
Yeah, they would. There's various reasons for every single one of them. But primarily, I
If you
think,
do a temporary food, though, do you
there's
need
a
a state
lot
license
of
and, say
things
like
that we
Oakland County
do
Fair,
here
they
in
need this
Oakland County
one
that
and a state,
others just don't see the benefit for that we do.
just the county.
It's a good thing.
And we have a larger demand too, I think,
Yeah.
from our citizens than maybe some other counties do.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Colwell's question sparked a question for me. So on the ones that don't have like the food establishment fees or retesting, do they use the state to do that? They use the state or a private?
Yeah, like at the top, if you're looking at water samples.
Or no, just like food establishment. So we go in to the restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
you do inspections. What do the other communities use for restaurant inspections?
They do restaurant inspections. So like if you're looking at the fixed food service operations license.
Oh, that's under
fees,
fixed. So a restaurant's fixed. So the food establishment, what one's that then? Food establishment, that's
the
extra?
fixed food. That's the fixed food.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do the other counties do for that? They don't do those extra tests or? You know what I'm saying? Like your NA where
Oh,
Commissioner Kowal
are-
asked, what do they use? The state?
Are you talking about the reinspection? Which
Yeah,
section
like
are you
the
in?
certification retest or the certification program. How do the other counties, what do they do for
I'm not
those?
sure where you are.
On the food establishments class,
certification?
yes.
No, so
Yeah.
that's that program that Commissioner Colo was talking about. That's our food service manager certification course. And so all of those fees go along with it. You can retest, you can go through a recertification program. They just simply don't teach the course.
Okay, all right.
And
So
then-
that would be beneficial to our restaurants in
So
Oakland
there's
County.
there's third-party organizations
Okay,
that
that's what I
also
was
teach
asking.
this,
That-
so they can go out and get that certification.
Okay,
from
so
someone
in
else.
Oakland County, if you have an establishment, you can use Oakland County, or if they thought, okay, this fee's too much, they can use another?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We would accept that.
Okay, and then, on the, like, so if you ever do a temporary food, I just wanna understand. So if you do a temporary food license, like for Oakland County Fair, since it's coming up, so they do $68, do they have to get something from the state too, or just the county?
That's the county.
Just the county?
Yeah.
Those are the vending, is that what these are?
Unless it's a state festival.
Right.
Okay.
Then that's a different thing.
So that's the
altogether,
food
and we're
trailers and stuff, they come and pay $68, they have to have a license, they
Correct.
post their license, that piece of paper up
That's
on
a
their,
state law, but it's
Okay.
it's a county fee.
okay, cause it's in the county when they do these the
And
vendor
that's a-
things.
And that's another case where Oakland County goes above and beyond. We work with the operators ahead of time, and we sometimes even go out and inspect what they're cooking ahead of time.
Which is good.
We really make sure that what arrives on the scene is safe, and that, we're not telling them at the time they arrive, they've done it wrong, and you're gonna have to get rid of all that food. We spend a lot of time with these operators that don't do this necessarily for a living and need a lot of guidance.
Right, and we have a lot of events in the summer, so I imagine you're really busy in the
Yeah,
summer with this
really
stuff.
busy.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fleming, now I sparked a question for you. No.
No. I know all of our high schools, or most of our high schools, have concession stands, and they cook
Oh.
hot dogs and hamburgers and grilling stations and all this stuff, and it's a profit center for most of the booster clubs and so forth. Where does that fall in here? Who inspects those, and what's the fee? Is that under temporary food services, or what is that under?
That's under fixed food, so that would
Fixed
be
food.
that second grouping there.
The fixed food, in other words, they don't have seats other than the stands, you know, they
Right.
might have
Zero
500 people.
0 seats.
0 seats?
They have to be
So that
full.
would be
They have to be
$295.
Yeah.
Fixed food service,
correct.
operations for the concession stands and grilling stations and so forth. So each school would pay the $295 fee annually.
And they get
Yes,
a
sir.
lot of service.
And you come and you inspect them and do all that stuff.
We have
Don't they do
estimated
safe
that
too?
these food fees and our septic fees are about 30% of our cost.
Oh.
What? So this doesn't cover your cost
Oh,
of
no.
inspection. $295 to inspect a
No.
concession stand doesn't cover your cost.
And the green hot dogs.
We
No, I'm just
spend a
kidding.
lot of time on all of them.
I'm sure
When I
you do.
work, it's good. Don't just, but don't they also have to be, they have the certified? Right, because I really helped our schools. They said, come back every Friday night. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no, because I passed that class, and I was like, oh, no, when they were doing their washing of soap and stuff, and I made, like I was teaching them stuff, so they're like, come back every Friday night. I'm like, oh, gosh, no, I was a little bit too good on the serving.
It's good that we stay involved.
Yeah,
with
it
the
is.
School and
It is very good.
sessions Because we provide
Don't
a
want
lot
someone
of
getting sick.
communication. But, when I first became an inspector, I would go out to schools and,
Just because it's all parent
all
volunteers.
kinds of things.
Right.
And so over time, I think we can all be really confident in what's happening at all of these events.
Yep, it's good. Commissioner Fleming?
Have you had situations where you denied a school a permit and said, you can't cook here? You
No,
always
they
find a way to
teach.
work with them. It's
They
basically
teach.
training, Kath.
Education.
It is.
It's what?
It's all about education.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Okay, all right, thank you. So we'll go back to the resolution as presented, and I'll roll call. Oh, I gotta get back to the agenda.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Long.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and then, I'm sorry, then we need a motion for direct referral to Human Resources and Finance this week. Moved by Commissioner Hoffman, supported by Commissioner Kowal. We can just do voice vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, so it'll be on then
Thank you.
this week, right? Thank you. All right, next, Board of Commissioner Area Agency on Aging 1B, fiscal year 2019 Annual Implementation Plan. Welcome.
Good morning.
Is this your first one now? Welcome.
This is it.
A first one. I've heard a lot of them every year, and this is your
Everything
first
I'm
one.
doing this year is my first, so.
Yes.
But you guys
That's
look like
okay.
a friendly group, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah, you're all right.
And as
So
a re-
far.
As a resident of Oakland County, it's good to know that my food is safe as well.
Right.
So-
I know it's kind of interesting today
It
for you
is.
to hear some of it.
And I can't read with these, so I have to take them off, but.
That's what I do.
They did suggest readers on Saturday, but I'm not ready for that yet. Just want to let you know that the Area Agency on Aging is.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need a
I'm
motion just to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that was me. Commissioner Fleming, Commissioner Hoffman. Okay, sorry.
Thank you very much. The Area Agencies on Aging is designed by Congress, and it was done in the 70s. There's over 500 area agencies on aging throughout the country, and it's also supported by the state and county governments. And in doing so, the Older American Acts program is funded, and it's also funded through the State Michiganians Act, and as I mentioned, the county government. And we have in our region of the 6 counties of the Area Agency on Aging 1B, over 700,000 older adults currently living there. And it's estimated from SEMCOG that in 10 years, in 2040, it's going to increase by 30%. So it's a population that is obviously on the rise and will continue to do so. Oakland County has 287,000 seniors currently living there, or 24% of the county's population. And we do plan to invest this year $14,500,000 serving Oakland County residents of this population. presentation today is the annual implementation for 2019. It's part of a 3-year plan. This is the last year of the plan, so we'll be redoing the plan starting this year. We'll start looking at what is needed. And in doing so, we always get feedback from, of course, our advisory committee, our board. We get it from public hearings, from stakeholders, community forums and surveys, ongoing conversations, and really from everybody, and helps us put together what the needs are in our 6-county area. And in doing so, for 2019, we have $23 million coming in to this program. Federal and state is $19.5 million. Counties are giving $126,800, and of that, $98,000 is coming from Oakland County. The services that we've allocated, and some of these dollars go for in-home meals, and they also go for high-priority residents. And I know that Oakland County has given some additional dollars to take care of people that are at the highest level of care, and I'm proud to say that we have no people currently on that list. We've been able to resolve our highest needs. And in doing so, from the county dollars there, that we should be able to continue this process for at least the next 3 years. So we appreciate it very much, as do the residents. Popular services and things that we're doing currently are information and assistance, which is our 800 number, where people call in and get in touch with us for all the different services that we have. We have advocacy for resources, home-delivered meals, long-term care ombudsman, as well as overall advocacy that we do in Lansing and in Washington. Most funds come for home-delivered meals, congregate meals, community living supports, adult day, and then care management. And as part of the program going forward, we look to grow our wellness planning and the training people of older adults to manage chronic conditions. We're also looking to continue our advocacy and leadership, which has brought $3.6 million of additional revenue over the last couple of years. And of that, Oakland County and our region has received $1 million, so we're able to get from Lansing additional dollars, which is helpful. And as we go forward in fiscal year 19, we're looking to introduce nutrition education as a counseling for menu prep, goal setting, and understanding nutritional foods. We're also looking at philanthropy. We're excited that we just brought on board a philanthropy person, and she just started. She has a great background. Her background is Henry Ford. She was also working at Evangelical Homes, and she's just getting started. But our goal is to get from our board all the way down to our employees 100% participation, even if it's $1, and we're going off and putting plans forward. So we're also looking to raise additional dollars. And of course, case coordination, using this model for telephonic support, which allows us to serve more people. So as people are calling in, we're able to get them services and do evaluations over the phone and get this care started much more rapidly. So we are excited about the plan, and I'm here for any questions.
Okay, good. Any questions? Commissioner Gosherson?
Well, thank you for coming. The breakdown that you mentioned of where your money comes from, I'd like to know where that is on your report. You can tell me later if you want. But
Yeah, I have my talking points, and it's on my
Right,
second
but
page.
I saw it.
I will.
It's mixed through.
I will get it
Yeah,
to
there's
you.
one.
I'd like to have
Several
that.
places.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to hear that the wait list is no more. That's correct.
Yes, and that being said, I want to talk about the wait list for a minute. Area Agency on Aging 1B categorized people based on 0 to 4 or 5, and the zeros were the highest need people. We still have over 600 plus people with less needs that are on that list, but the goal and the additional dollars that was asked for would get the people with the highest needs, so we've been able to do that. That being said, we still have, over 500 people currently on the list waiting for services.
Okay, so I would like to know what that means, a breakdown of who those people are, and what, I don't remember, I know we went through this
Kristen,
at the last
somewhat.
report, but I'd like, is it on there, Chris?
No,
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
looking
like
for
to
your
know-
money one. I saw it. I
I
thought.
know we addressed the highest needs, but, in fact, the wait list, there still is a wait list,
Yes.
and there are over 500 Oakland County residents on that wait list.
Yeah, and that being said, and I think it's important to know that we have multiple wait lists. We have wait lists for our Medicaid program, we have wait lists for this program. And in having that wait list for the Medicaid program, we share that with another group, so that the people call in, they get put on that list. Of that list for the Medicaid program,
Thanks. I know
out
it's on it.
of, we have about 1,000 people on the list. Out of every 100, 25 to 30 people actually qualify for Medicaid. Some people just need to be redirected to other programs. Some people are just put on that list as an area to move forward. Same thing with this other list. We have people on the list that need services, but some people find that family takes over and they're doing, they're finding other means as well. But I will get a breakdown for you.
I'd like that, because I've learned a lot about wait lists and the criteria and how some people actually don't qualify. And I just want to have
That's what she's
a good
looking for.
understanding
Starts on 101, right?
of who's on the wait list and.
Now this.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and Marcia, on your PDF, 101 is the,
101?
yeah, the financial
Page
start.
101?
Yeah, on your PDF number.
Okay, thank you.
And then it's broken meals. I think that's what you're looking for, that we always have, isn't it? The meals, what service, what they spend on what is on that too. 101 to 103.
Okay, thank you.
I knew I saw it somewhere, but, okay, any other, Commissioner Cowell? But the other thing, I don't see the waiting list thing in there.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and welcome aboard, and thank you for your presentation. In your comments, you mentioned what you get from the counties total, and then how much you get from Oakland County. Can you repeat that?
Sure. We get, all counties that come in, it's 126,000, and 98,000 is from Oakland County.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm going, okay. Out of 6 counties?
Yeah, and some counties have their own millage as well. So
Yeah.
Monroe County and St. Clair County have their own millage. They have a tremendous amount of programs that they do internally with the county. We know that Livingston County is looking at their own millage as well, and their population is a little more sparse. So it just really depends on population and the services that we have. Our highest density is Oakland County, but I don't want to get on my soapbox, but county millages, in the short time that I've been there, counties with county millages have been able to do so many things for seniors. And the conversations that I've had is that a lot of our municipalities have their own programs. And in doing so, that could be a hardship in getting everyone to agree to support a county millage. But between transportation, care services, and everything else, it raises the bar tenfold. So I'm planting the seed, just to say that a county millage is really an amazing thing as the population grows and the needs continue.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you. And then we just need a roll call on the resolution or the report as presented.
Fleming.
Yes.
Kirshenson.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Long.
Yes. Thank you. Excellent job.
Thank you very much. Great to see everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and next is here on Clinton Metropolitan Authority presentation. Jay is here. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
You can just open up that laptop and there's a clicker. You can
Oh,
click
she
through your
has a
slides.
Slides even. Thank you. We even have a slide presentation.
Okay. Well, I will go ahead and use the readers. I'll own
I
up
know,
to that age.
Me too. Me too. I'm with you.
First of all, I want to thank you for the reappointment. This is a super exciting time to be on the board of HCMA. I came in taking over a term for John McCullough at a time where we were not at the rock bottom, but it was close. It was a couple of years off close. So what I wanted to do is just to give you kind of a brief overview, but if there are specific areas or specific questions, feel free to interrupt and ask.
Okay.
I put this slide in because I've been on for a long time and I've been the only woman for a long time. I think it is demonstratively brave of Oakland County to continue to have a woman, and we just unanimously selected Amy McMillan as our new director, the first time there's been a woman director in a very, very long time. She is from Genesee County Parks, had been there for many years, and she is a dynamo, and we are really, really excited about that. So you know that the parks sit within 5 counties. Oakland County has 3 metro parks within its borders. 2 of them actually, as you can see, share borders. Kensington shares a border with Livingston, and Stony Creek shares a border with Macomb County. It is an enormous amount of acreage, 25,000 acres in the 5 counties, and 13 separate parks, each of which has its own unique thing to offer. And one of the things that we have seen over the past several years, as we've spent a big effort, and I'll get to that at the end, meeting with communities and developing plans for each of the parks, is that we don't have to have every single thing in every single park. To meet the residents of the 5 counties, we have a lot of diversity. So that's something that the Metro Parks has really embraced. This is important. At the end of the day, how the Metro Parks are funded is very important. The primary funding for the Metro Parks comes from the perpetual mill and from what we've seen in property taxes. While we're not as bad as it was in 2008, we're still significantly down. Our additional revenue sources come from our park passes and the fee-based programs within the parks, as well as grants and donations. This is sort of a remarkable slide. Property taxes by county, you can see, as I guess the presentation just before me, Oakland County bears the primary funding for the parks. In the general fund balance, what you see every year is that more than half of our revenue source and budgeting comes from the property taxes, and then we have the park operating, and then we have the other. In terms of park operating expenses, that is the greatest use of our budget, and then we've obviously got capital and some major maintenance and administrative costs. These 13 parks take a lot to maintain, and we spend an awful lot of years just getting by. So one of the things that we're trying to do is be smart, but also look a little to the future and make sure that we are catching up on some of that major maintenance that simply wasn't done. This just illustrates where we are in terms of Oakland County providing greater revenues than the expenses that the parks actually use. The 3 parks, Kensington, Indian Springs, and Stony Creek, are, as I said, within Oakland County. Kensington, if you guys have not been there, and I'm sure you all have, is just an absolute jewel. One of the things that I always encourage people to do, even if you don't take your kids and your grandkids, is to go out to that farm center. It's amazing. There is also a completely green barn building that's kind of a model for what the parks would like to go to in terms of the building and the structures that we use. So Farm Center is wonderful, gets a lot of visitors. The Nature Center at Kensington also gets an enormous number of visitors. And one thing that I can't emphasize enough is the services that the parks provide, both to, not just to residents who come in and spend the money and bring their families, but to school children and to seniors who are great users of our interpretive services. The boating out there, if you are a kayaker or a paddleboarder or a fishing person, Kensington is a no-wake lake. So for instance, personally, if Orchard Lake scares you a little bit, if you want to go out and go slow, Kensington is wonderful. They rent all sorts of small personal crafts, and lots of people use it. Kensington has for many, many years had one of the best golf courses, public golf courses in the area. We have struggled, I think, as golf has struggled across the state of Michigan, sorting out how to service the people that use golf while recognizing that we may not need to have a golf course at every single facility. Golf courses are expensive, and so that's been a process, but the Kensington golf course is very popular and does manage to pay for itself. Stony Creek is probably one of the greatest family parks that has a beachfront waterfront. If you have not seen this crazy slide, it's sort of amazing. If you go out early in the morning, they start blowing it up, and it takes 45 minutes, like a crazy amount. But we put it in, and at the time we put it in 3 or 4 years ago, it was expensive. It was, it was an expenditure we had to talk about. It paid for itself in a month and a half.
Oh my!
So we now have a couple of more. It is very, very popular. Stony Creek doesn't ever have the closure E. coli issues that we have at I'm old, it's Metropolitan Beach. Lake St. Clair Metro Park is what it actually is called. So that beachfront at Stony is always, always full. About 2 years ago, we put in a ropes course. This is a third-party vendor company called Go Ape. They came in and did a presentation. So this is a fee in addition to the amount that you have to pay to get in the park, as many of the things are, the slide is. But it is really, really amazing. Literally, that picture is actually what it's like. You're in the trees. Corporations have been using it for team building. We get lots of groups in there. They have this one at Stony Creek, and they're looking to put a second facility in out at Kensington. One of the beauty of having so much acreage is that you can actually dump these things in, and they blend in and no one even knows. If you don't know where the Go Ape place is at Stony, you don't see it. It doesn't disturb any of the natural beauty.
Yeah.
A great thing that has happened within the last couple of years is we've partnered with a mountain biking organization. Stony Creek has these wonderful mountain biking trails, and we have had really great luck getting grants to maintain the trails. One of the things that happens with mountain biking is you get erosion. So this is a little new and different from us, and this mountain biking organization has been really instrumental. Again, Stony Creek offers wonderful education programs. That Voyager canoe is, I don't know, anybody that grew up in Michigan has probably been out on that crazy Voyager canoe. They have one at Stony and one at Lake St. Clair. And school groups, scout groups love it. It's a wonderful way to see kind of the marshland and the wetlands that exist. This is the mountain bike trails. They are the Sheldon Trails. We are looking to do an event in October that will be a nighttime mountain bike trail. There will also be a nighttime walk that will be a fundraiser in partnership with the Sheldon Trails to sort of increase those mountain bike trails to meet the community needs. They're real passionate about it. Indian Springs is kind of a hidden jewel. Has anybody been out to Indian Springs? Yeah. A couple. Indian Springs, the Environmental Discovery Center at Indian Springs has an amazing TENS and Science Center that is used by students all over the place. It is an amazing place to do biodiverse studies. It operates with large grant money. I will say that its building predated me, but the angst about how much money it cost to build continued after I got there. But when you see a group out there, you recognize, particularly in this day and age when science is such a push, that it is wonderful. If you have a chance to go out to Indian Springs, it is great. This is actually what the inside of the area looks. They also, if you swiveled and looked the other direction, they have a glass wall that allows you to look into the marsh and the creek area there, and it's very unique. Indian Springs doesn't get a lot, frankly, because very, very close by are Stony and Kensington, but we do have a small kind of splash and blast that people from Oakland County like. Again, this TENS program is 3M does a huge funding and has every year for us. It's a well worth your time to go out and take a look at. I wanted to focus on a couple of other things. First of all, the education and the numbers of students that both come through the Metro Parks as well as make use of our mobile center, because we actually have mobile facilities that come out, is enormous. And we have taken, over the course of the last summers, some additional grant money to bring people out during the summer, trying to focus on people who say they have never been to a metro park. That's one of the really remarkable things, that you live in this area and you will say to people, have you, and no, someone has never been to it. So we focused working really strongly with Pontiac, and working really strongly with the city of Detroit to try to get both youth and senior groups out. We've done it through education, we've done it through our Get Out and Learn program and field trips, and we've also done it with a program called Get Out and Play. And we provide the bus services, they can pick what parks they want to go to, they can pick the activities within the park, and it's remarkable when you do the surveys at the end that every time you're going to get 40% of those people that have never been to a metro park before. So it's a really great introduction. I want to end on these slides. 24% of the more than 1,000 employees live in Oakland County. We have
That's it?
we have an amazing staff. The people that I've never seen people who love what they do so much and work so hard to do it. I'm a runner, and I run year round, and there aren't very many places that you can run year round on cleared paths. Two of those places are in Oakland County, Kensington and Stony Creek. Those guys get out every single day and clear those paths, and we're all in Michigan and we know how bad it is, but it is, they do amazing jobs. So, questions, concerns?
Okay, that was excellent presentation. I have a couple commissioners. First I have Commissioner Gershenson, then Commissioner Kowal.
Well, thank you, Jay. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I feel that this is a great report. Is this an annual report that you do?
This is just a highlight of many other reports, and actually let me move forward and just show you a few slides at the end, because I mentioned early about the park master plans. Beginning in 2016, we started to do a master plan for every single park. It involved doing a lot of surveys, doing 2 concentrated meetings at the parks with the communities, and then developing essentially a 5-year working plan. It was something that we never had before. Each of the plans, and I just have this slide with the 3, are available on the website. So you can go to the website and look at, I want to say they range in the 80 to 150 pages. They talk about what facilities need work, what the community would like to be done, what the targeted priorities are over the course of the next 5 years at each of the parks, which kind of allows us to make sure that the community knows what we're doing and really has an opportunity to guide where we're going.
Well, and that's one thing I want to mention. I'd like to be better kept up to date on what's going on in the parks through emails or with you coming at least once a year, but maybe twice a year, where it doesn't have to be such a detailed report, but it could just be updating us on what's happening. Because when you came up for reappointment, we heard amazing things about you and your enthusiasm. But we also heard that there's a little bit of a disconnect between the board and what's going on in the parks.
Okay.
So I'd like to encourage you to send us events that are happening. Be sure we know about events that are happening. You can do that through emails or through the General Government Committee. But to just enhance our relationship so we feel more connected with what you're doing.
I hear that, and I would love to do that. One thing that I would like to do, I don't want to do it in the summer because I got to tell you, Amy's a little overwhelmed right now, but I'd love to bring Amy here. Amy
Sure.
McMillan, the director.
Right.
So maybe
Sure,
I'll
in the
reach
slow
out
time,
in the late fall.
Absolutely, or in the winter.
In the winter time. But I will certainly work maybe with Jamie on figuring out a way to communicate with you on
right,
an email
because
basis.
you're our appointee, so we want to know you, and we want to know what's happening, so we feel really connected
Absolutely.
with the parks. Thank you.
Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, and thank you for that presentation. we all get so busy and we forget about, all these great resources that we have around us. So for one thing, this makes me want to, get the husband and the kids and grandkids out to, like, that Stony Creek that I haven't been out to since we went cross-country skiing back when we were, I don't want to say how young, but one thing, too, that was wonderful, I took my granddaughter to Kensington, and they have a place where, particularly in the wintertime, you get bird seed, and you just hold your hand out, and the birds come and light on your hand and feed, take the bird seed. That was such a cool experience, and there's just so many more. It's just we've got a lot of jewels right in our area, and this just makes me want to get out and enjoy them a lot more.
I'm glad because honestly, from my heart, this is a jewel that so many people don't utilize. Every once in a while, I get somebody that complains, and I understand $35 for an annual, but it is $35 for 13 parks, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can't do anything that cheaply.
Yeah. Okay, all set. Commissioner Koch-Lindorfer.
I just want to thank you for the presentation. I think that's one of the best presentations that we've seen in a long time. That was very, very informative. And you're right. I mean, we live probably 10 minutes away from Stony Creek. We have little kids. I don't think we've taken them out there once. So.
Oh my God, that breaks my heart.
I know.
You gotta get to that slide.
Parks,
you gotta get to that slide now.
So we got to get on that. One question I had, just reading the papers in the past decade, there's been a lot of drama in the leadership of Metro Parks, not the Board of Commissioners, but elsewhere. Anecdotally, I had heard some things with past leadership that was disappointing, to say the least, in trying to work out contracts and relationships. It sounds like you have a lot of confidence, though, in current leadership. Is that right?
Yes, I do, and I can't disagree with what you said. It's 5 directors in 7 years. That's not a fabulous track record. We did a nationwide search, which we had not done, at least since I had been on the board. We had kind of internally. But we did a nationwide search, and we had literally people not even from the, just the lower 48. We had a candidate from Alaska. And we narrowed it down, and we had in-person presentations by 4 really outstanding candidates. And Amy was the last to present. It's a long day. We were all kind of. She blew us away. I mean, you could feel it in the room. She was so good. She started her career working part-time at what was then Metropolitan Beach, and she has like a internship paper that she presented about how one day she was going to run the parks, and it's just like crazy. But she's got a lot of time working with. Genesee Parks was not as. Nobody was going to have the experience with this size of a system. There are only 2 or 3 that are this size in the United States. But Amy had all of what she needed. She had to work with a board of commissioners. She had to work within public funded budgets. But she had great experience with fundraising and with working. I mean, you think about it, if we've struggled financially, Flint has had it really rough. And she managed to do some fabulous things with those Genesee Parks. So we all feel really, really good about it.
That's great to hear.
Good.
That's good.
Good.
Great asset.
All right, any other questions? No, thank you. That was an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then we just need a receive and file. So just a voice. Right? We don't need a motion.
Somebody had a question.
We didn't do
Oh, do you have another
About
question?
Oh, you know what? She left.
Oh.
And actually, it was about.
Oh, I'm doing receive and file. Let's do the receive and file first
Okay.
on this.
Moved.
But we had a motion already, so we're doing it. Oh, we didn't have a motion. We had a motion just to.
Thank you, Bob.
Moved by Commissioner Fleming, supported by Commissioner Hoffman. All in favor? That's to receive and file this. Aye. Okay. Thank you for coming. All right, now we're on communications.
Yeah, I was
Sorry,
just going to
no,
talk to Jody about the lunch program, because I recently heard a presentation from United Way, which was shocking about the number of kids in Oakland County that need help with their breakfast. And so I just wanted to kind of tie a parallel in, and that it's certainly something I'm going to be looking into about the number of kids that are hungry in our county. So I was just gonna start that conversation,
I
but thank you.
thought though, isn't there,
Blessings
Kathy,
and
right, there's, the schools all have it now, don't they, for lunch?
Most of them
Wall
do.
Lake School, I saw big signs saying the program
Schools
starts.
do, and then they're.
Breakfast is a difficult one.
Okay, so that's a lunch program in the summer, right?
summer,
I saw
right.
the big, no, the summer, there's, Wall Lake has in the summer, I saw,
But it's.
No
it's
breakfast.
all the counties.
Right.
I mean, it's all the communities.
Right.
In our county, and some of the kids are slipping through the cracks, no question.
For many years, the health division's been working with United Way on that.
That's who I heard the
situation.
presentation from.
And we have tried to assist with getting sponsors
I
to
know, exactly.
those meals. We feel that we're in a better place than we were a few years ago. That's with the summer lunch program.
right, that's a lunch program, I
Yeah, and I think if all of the commissioners were aware of how much need there is, it would be shocking to us, just like some of our seniors, when we were shocked at how
Right.
many were on the wait list.
Right.
Wait till we hear about how many kids are going hungry in our county.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion to receive and file these communications, moved by Commissioner Kofendorfer, supported by Commissioner Fleming. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, just, other business, there's a couple things. Just so you know, the library board appointment expires, August 24th, and that's Commissioner Taub, right? That's the only one that,
There
so,
seems to be a lot going on with the library these days.
yeah, so that's the commissioner
And are we
appointment,
gonna
correct?
talk about that?
We could.
Good.
If the chairman,
Yeah.
sees fit.
Yeah,
Oh,
do you
you
want to talk
wanna
about it now, or
finish?
do you want to, no, that was that, and then,
Well, you can put it on the agenda, whatever you want.
okay, that's for FYI, we can put it on the agenda if you want. And then the law library,
Oh, that's what I meant,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Chris is giving an
I'm sorry,
update now.
that's what I meant.
All right, so
That's what
that
I thought.
appointment's coming up, so we have to, for Commissioner Taub, so, I don't know, I'm sure she probably wants to be appointed. And then, that's for the library board, and then this is about the law library.
Yep.
And that what you wanted, Commissioner Gershenson? That's what you wanted an update on the law library, he's going to.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. I just wanted to draw attention, if you hadn't seen, I sent a memo out last week. I know a lot of people were engaged with 4th of July and other activities, but there's a situation that's developing and you might be getting some contact on. I'd like to keep you informed. With the law library, it's surrounding another issue with a new courtroom that will be proposed to you to be constructed. You recall last year you approved the addition of a new circuit court judgeship. As part of that, we're going to have to create some accommodations for a new judge. There's some controversy about that, sort of tangential to that discussion about whether we needed to create a new courtroom or not. We can have that discussion a little bit here as well if you'd like. Part of that issue basically is there is a courtroom that is being occupied by a probate court judge right now. And if that probate court judge were to vacate that, that would become a circuit court judge courtroom. But the probate court judge would have to move back to the probate court room that is really not, according to facilities in the administration, couldn't be occupied really as a courtroom because of ADA issues, jury box issues. Essentially, there's just not enough space there to renovate it. Bottom line is that a new courtroom will have to be created somewhere in the courthouse in some existing space, and much of the courthouse here is occupied and by some other use. The initial space was evaluated, and the initial look at it was that the elections department was perhaps the best space. We had a meeting, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, with the county clerk and the court administration, and it really appeared it really is not the most ideal situation to build a courtroom right in the middle of an election, and with having to disconnect the election equipment that's all very interrelated in the IT system, and then move all of that election equipment into the basement. So an alternative discussion was held to build a courtroom where the law library is now and to shrink the footprint of the law library. So we've begun this discussion. I went up and had a brief initial discussion with Laura Mancini, our library director, about plans, and Art has gone back to the drawing board and begun that process of redrawing those blueprints to take a look at what that would look like. And Laura has asked that the law library staff and the library board be a part of this discussion, and I think that's certainly reasonable. I've talked to Chairman Gidgel, and he would like us to begin that process to bring them into the dialogue as well. So that's basically where we're at. I just really wanted you to be informed. I know the board being informed on these things has been an issue as of late, not being the last ones to the table in these discussions. So that's where we're at. I think one of the things that I wanted to get your feedback on is really as we shrink the footprint of the library, part of the discussion is really what is the core function of what the library does. Right. And really, I don't want to make too many assumptions here, but probably the primary function of the library is to provide service for those pro per individuals who can't afford an attorney. So, you know, as we are looking also at the MIDC function that we're going to be creating here as part of the statutory requirements, that's something that we're going to have to provide a space for, and that's another function, as I understand it. Those are not, those are really criminal lawsuits, so we're still going to have to provide some space for civil lawsuits, and that's really, as I understand, what the law library would continue to do. There are other parts of the collection there that could be potentially given to other libraries. There's perhaps parts of the collection there that are of lower circulation that could be created system like we do with the county clerk's office, where they archive court records and they bring them up. So there's all kinds of alternatives that could be looked at there. There's shared space alternatives that could be looked at there, but basically the bottom line is that we're going to start a dialogue with the library and the court and board leadership and any of you that might be interested in being part of that conversation, and try to foster a positive dialogue.
Okay, I have Commissioner Kokendorfer and then Commissioner Fleming.
Well, thank you, Chris, for bringing this to our attention, and I agree. I think this board should absolutely have a say and have a voice in this process. And there are a lot of things that can do a law library. I sent out an email last night. It's amazing how much has changed in the past 15 years in terms of libraries still performing their core function and yet taking up a heck of a lot less space. So one of the things we want to do is make sure that that core, as Chris had mentioned, is preserved in the most efficient way and effective way possible. Just as, it's almost an aside right now, but I think it would have been much more effective for us to have this conversation back when we had created a judgeship and had a more detailed conversation about this.
Right.
Well,
yeah, you're bringing up the story.
yeah, well, I think that a lot more information probably could have been shared about this, and that's something that we need to think about moving forward.
Commissioner Fleming.
I agree with Commissioner Kokendorfer, but I think what we're doing with the law library is just a Band-Aid anyway. I think we need a more comprehensive plan, and I think Art will be working on that hopefully for us, because it's a much bigger issue than just creating one courtroom. I think as this whole thing plays out with indigent defense and so forth, I think it's a bigger picture, and I think this committee needs to be involved in that. But again, I think it's a step in the right direction, but just a Band-Aid of what we really need to be doing.
One thing I want to mention is the circuit court is paying for the construction of the library out of unexpended funds in their budget. I did have a request from one of the commissioners to find a little bit more detail on that, so I'll send that out to all of you.
Good. Commissioner Gershenson.
I'm really happy that the committee's looking into it, and I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate your acknowledgement too, because sometimes when we get an issue, we feel pressure, it's time sensitive, but in the reality is that we did want to look deeper into that new judgeship position, and a lot of it was related exactly to these issues. So I think we should be we should be reminded that we can't really rush a lot of those decisions just because somebody's asking us to. There's a lot more detail to consider. Thanks.
Anything else? Thanks for the update, Chris. Any other business? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned.